Boys, so it's been a little bit since I actually posted like a new video on this channel. I think I made a video like the other day or like a month ago. Not my fault, not the other day, like a month ago. It was a re-upload though from my other channel. If you guys have been following me for a little bit, you guys know that I'm in like the info space. I run an agency helping different coaches and creators scale up info products. So I had a different separate page where I was just posting more long-form educational videos, but I decided to say fuck it, and I'm back on this channel just giving you guys a hell of value. So last month we ended up helping one of our clients generate a little bit over $35,000 in a single month in revenue for his offer and around $22,000 in cash. So we took it from 2K a month to making over 35,000 in a single month. So in this video, what I'm gonna be doing is pretty much breaking down the whole process step by step, everything that we actually did for his offer. We generated all of this money pretty much through YouTube. So I'm breaking down the whole funnel, the systems, the back end process, everything that we did. So if you are a coach or consultant, or if you run like an agency and you want to implement something similar for your business, you know exactly what you need to do, okay? So yeah, it's gonna be a pretty saucy video. I left pretty much everything in it, and I hope you guys get a fuck ton of value from it. So let's get into it. Just to kind of show you some proof before we even get into anything. This was in the month of October. So here's some payment screenshots, as you can see from our dashboard. $21,997 in cash, so around $22,000 in cash, and then obviously around like $34,997, so like around $35,000 in cash collected over here. Okay, so maybe pretty much just breaking down everything, the exact funnel that we use, the exact system, pretty much everything step by step. So that way, if you are a coach or a consultant and you want to just go ahead and implement something similar for your offer, your business, you can just go ahead and copy and paste this whole exact system. Okay. Now, before actually taking on this client, the month previously, he'd only made like $2,000 with his offer in cash. And then October, which was last month, we had pretty much our best month in cash, which was $22,000 in cash collected and around $35,000 in revenue. You can see here's all the payments here. And just also an FYI, we didn't do any big launch, so we didn't run some sort of crazy like front end launch. We did all this marketing or running any sort of paid ads. This was simply just an organic funnel that we had, and we were just had some dialed in backend systems, a good backend system, which I'll go ahead and cover in here, and pretty much we're able to scale. So like I said, I'll show you guys the full process so you guys can actually just use it. Now, this process is pretty much broken down into 3 steps, right? Pretty much 3 phases, which number 1 is going to be phase 1 here, right? Which phase 1, I like to call it here, the traffic system. So obviously how we actually generated traffic for, this offer. Phase 2, which is the nurturing system. So how exactly we're actually nurturing these leads and actually being able to get them to close at these payments. You can see like we have payments here for 5K payment, or 4.5K. So this is 5K in total though. Another 5K payment here. We then had another 5K payment here. So as you can see, like the amount of people that we're closing for, this is like very high ticket offer. We're not really selling some like short, sort of cheap, low ticket stuff. So how exactly we're actually nurturing those leads and building that trust to get them to actually want to spend that much on a coaching offer. And then obviously the conversion system. So how we're actually converting all these leads. Obviously getting attention, nurturing people is good, but if you're not actually closing that attention that you're getting, then it's pretty much pointless. Okay, so I'm gonna be breaking out pretty much everything. Now, obviously, when it comes to scaling any sort of offer, there's gonna be 3 phases of your offer, which I kind of broke this Miro board into 3 different phases of that. But there's gonna be your top of funnel, your middle of funnel, and then your bottom of funnel. So your top of funnel obviously is like when you're actually gathering all that attention. So obviously, any sort of coaching offer that you're selling, you cannot sell without attention, right? A lot of people in the space, they think that just because they're knowledgeable at what they do, I've talked to a lot of coaches who are really good at what they do. They've made a lot of money teaching a certain business, or they made a lot of money doing something. They're really good at that specific thing they're teaching, whether it's like a business, whether it's trading, whether it's e-com, whatever, but they don't actually have enough attention. And this is why their business actually struggles, right? Because you can't excel. You can't just expect to sell something to thin air. You have to have attention. People are actually interested to even just get them down further the funnel. So obviously gathering attention is gonna be the top of funnel, and that kind of goes down even deeper to like what attention you're bringing in and stuff like that and how you're getting that, but I'll go ahead and cover that later. Middle of funnel. So once you actually have that attention from your top of funnel, how are you actually nurturing that funnel? How are you actually nurturing that attention to get them to trust you and actually want to spend upwards of $5,000 just for a coaching program? And then obviously bottom of funnel, how you're actually getting all that attention that you've already gathered and you've already nurtured, and then how do you actually get them to the last point of the funnel, which is actually closing them, and that's gonna be at your bottom of funnel, okay? So I broke down every single phase of this funnel into 3 different steps, and I'm gonna be going down each one individually and explaining each one in depth, right? Now, generating traffic is very simple, yet it's a very crucial part that plays into any info product success in today's age, right? So many coaches get this part wrong because they either are not generating enough traffic due to poor marketing efforts, Or on the other hand, right, they're generating enough traffic, but they're generating low quality leads that turn into unqualified prospects and no actual real buyers who are actually willing to pay high ticket for your services, right? So again, a lot of people are posting a lot of content, they're making a lot of videos, and it's either two things. Either A, the videos aren't getting views and their content is really good. They just don't actually know how to get those videos out and push it to their specific ICP. Or B, they're posting a lot of content, but due to the content that they're actually posting, it's generating low quality traffic, it's generating low qualified leads, and they just don't actually know the content that they need to be making to actually get these qualified leads in, right? So how do we actually fix this problem? Well, it all just comes down to posting the right content that's actually going to be tailored, right, towards your ICP, and then actually build trust, educate them, and sell them on your services, right? So obviously you guys should know what an ICP is, but your ideal customer profile is pretty much what your ICP is. So, for this offer, obviously it was a trading offer. So ICP was around 18 to 25-year-olds, people who are already trading right now, who are struggling to maybe get their first payout or whatever. And our pretty much unique selling mechanism, we would help them become profitable traders in under 180 days by helping them build their own unique trading system, right? So you actually won't know this unless you actually do market research on who exactly your audience is. Now you can always change that, right? A lot of times people think that just because they have a broke audience means that they have to stay with that broke audience. It doesn't matter. If you're right now running an offer and you're just getting really unqualified people, you're getting leads that just won't pay you high ticket, it's just because of the people that you have in your audience. And what you need to actually do is you need to start shifting your content towards the content that's attracting those people into content that's going to attract high ticket serious buyers. Okay. So what does that mean? Let's say, for example, you are a coach and you're making educational content on trading, or you're just a trader, right? There's two types of different people. There's one person that's maybe making a lot of lifestyle content. They're showing flashy stuff. They're showing their watches. Now, who do you actually think that's going to attract, right? It's probably going to attract young kids that just want to make money. They see the car, see the lifestyle. They probably haven't traded at all yet. They just like the idea of getting started with it. Those are going to be people who are not really serious about it. They're going to be people who are just going to be, kind of wanting to come into it just for like a thing that's just like a quick money grab. They're not really going to be serious about it, and they're not going to actually, really trust you to actually pay high ticket stuff. And a lot of times they're not even have enough money. And a lot of people that I've talked to, they kind of have a lot of this audience just because they've been making the wrong content. But they think that just because of that, they're cooked, right? They think that they can't scale to 30K a month plus, and that's just what they have to deal with. This isn't true. What you actually have to do is you have to actually tailor your content to your ICP, right? So who is somebody that would want to pay you high ticket for your services? Well, it's probably someone who is already in the space, right? Someone who's already maybe in that certain business that you're teaching, right? Maybe they've been struggling for a little bit and they want to get over this hump. Maybe they've tried different programs in the past and it hasn't worked. And maybe that person just is looking for more external help. They're looking for external guidance, right? Just think of someone who would actually be willing to pay high ticket for your services and make a list of that ICP. Literally write them down a list. We SOP all this stuff for our clients. So we literally make a list of that specific client of who exactly our ideal customer profile is. And we write it down on a piece of paper. That way, when we actually do make our content, we actually know who exactly we're making that content towards. So we actually track the right buyers who would pay us high ticket, right? So kind of just reverse engineer who exactly be willing to pay for a high ticket service, and then just make content towards that person and just kind of slowly start to shift your content towards more educational content, and you will actually start making more money. Okay. So again, you can see a picture right here of this like traffic. Obviously we all know being stuck in traffic is pretty gay, but traffic is a good thing if you actually know how to convert that traffic, how to nurture them. Obviously that can turn into a lot of monions, right? Now YouTube is the best platform for any coach or creator that is trying to sell info products online for two main reasons, right? Number one, long form assets, and then number two is trust, right? Now let me actually break down both of these. Now, long form content is the best way to sell any sort of coaching, any sort of info product online, right? And the reason for that is because in today's age, people are very skeptical online. They don't trust you. They don't know you. They don't like you. And you guys posting these reels that are 30 seconds long, a minute long, 2 minutes long, whatever, that's not going to actually build enough trust to get someone to pay you $5,000 on a Zoom call, right? Or whoever it is, if it's your closer, your team, whatever. You just posting these short reels on Instagram is not going to actually be enough to get enough trust for you to actually sell a high ticket coaching program. So what you actually need to do is you need to get all that attention that you're getting from your short form, and you need to actually send them over to your long form content where you actually have more time to explain exactly what you do, to sell them on the vehicle, to sell them on yourself, and to actually build that trust with them where they are willing to spend where they are actually willing to spend $3,000 to $5,000 just on your services. Okay. And what we did for this offer, at least like what we're actually doing going forward as well, is obviously posting 1 to 2 times middle of funnel content. So this has TLF, which that was a misspelling, middle of funnel content. that is actually going to be tailored towards your ICP, right? So this is content like, how exactly I made $10,000 trading this week, or, how to fix the reason you're unprofitable is because of this, right? Kind of just, and that doesn't also have to be trading. I'm just saying trading because that's kind of majority of the people that I work with mainly are traders, but we do also work with other people in different industries. So if you are coaching, you're skeptical about that, don't worry, that's not a problem. But yeah, so pretty much what I'm saying is though that, you want to make content that's tailored towards that person who's already in that market, just because it's going to make more sense for them and it's going to educate them a lot more. And the more educational content you post, the more of an authority figure you are, positioned in as a, in the space, right? Obviously, I make my content on teaching people how to actually scale up info products, right? And I get a lot of people who come to me and they want to actually learn exactly what I do. And, majority of the time I just tell them, hey, go watch my YouTube channel. And that's just because I know I post educational content that frames in where people actually know that I'm understanding what I talk about. And that's the same thing that you should actually be doing as a coach, right? You should be sending people over to your long form content where you can actually educate them and build that trust with them, right? So all the things that we were doing is just pushing all that traffic to long form content, which is kind of where, we actually educate them. Now, there's going to be 3 types of content that you actually want to put on YouTube, and they're going to be all tailored for one specific reason, which is just, nurturing them. But obviously broken down into 3 phases. So top of funnel, middle of funnel, and bottom of funnel. Like I told you guys earlier, these are the 3 phases of your funnel. But on your YouTube, you also have your own kind of mini funnel in there as well, right? Which all has top of funnel, middle of funnel, and bottom of funnel content. So top of funnel content is stuff like this, right? For example, there's a video that TJR posted, I bought a $3,500 Kona Zega 23. POV, you're spending a day with millionaire traders on a yacht. So this is kind of like middle of funnel, top of funnel content, kind of like in like the middle. But it's kind of like the same exact concept. It's just like, making content that kind of can get pushed out to a wide audience of people, right? So these could be people who are already trading right now. People who just like want to make money online, and they see your content, they're like, wow, this guy's so cool. What exactly does he do? And obviously this content can get pushed out to a huge demographic. So he had 583,000 views in 2 months. I don't think any trading video is going to get 583,000 views. Like the trading market is pretty big, but that's pretty a rare chance that like a trading video is going to get that much views, right? So obviously getting attention is very important, and a lot of times people only focus on getting attention in their space, which if you're just selling like a micro niche offer, maybe it's a specific offer to a specific audience, then making just that bottom of funnel or even middle of funnel content is very important. Like that's a lot of times with my pages, I don't really make a lot of top of funnel stuff like vlogs or stuff like that, which I do have a separate page for that. I might actually be adding it onto this page, who knows? But for the time being, bro, most of my content is going to be middle of funnel just because I know exactly who my demographic is. But in their case, right, obviously they have a B2B market, so they're going to be selling to a huge demographic of people, which is why they're trying to get all these views so they can actually get this attention and get them further down their funnel. So once you come watch these videos, you get interested. You're like, okay, cool. What does this person actually do for a living to allow them to, afford this type of lifestyle? Then, once you go more and more their page, you see, okay, cool, live day trading, making $64,000, right? Or this stupid simple strategy made me X amount. And you're like, oh, wow, so they trade. Okay, cool, they're making money doing this. And now you're more from like an interested stage into like a curious wanting to learn stage, right? And obviously once you get wanting to learn, right, now you go from learning to learning from other people. Then you go from having a pain problem, which is like not actually understanding how to do that skill properly. And that's how you get pushed down further and further in the funnel. Right? So they take you from this like lifestyle content into more educational content. Then from there, bottom of funnel content is just specifically like case studies and stuff like that. Right? So as you see this video right here, PB has it posted how this kid went from 0 to making a lot of money with day trading. This is a video that's just pushed out to people who are already watching his page, who already know what trading is. And this video is just selling them on the mentorship. This is a 50-minute video of this guy talking about his experience with joining their mentorship and just giving them case studies and stuff like that, right? Obviously, if someone's watching a 50-minute video of just hearing good things about what exactly you teach, they're gonna get interested to where at least they opt in or at least decide to book a call with you because they wanna learn more, right? And that's how you actually get those people over the edge, from just getting them to see your content and actually getting them to buy your offer, okay? So following those 3 phases. Now, the next phase here is gonna actually be, the nurturing system. Okay, so the nurturing system, right? Now, no deal can actually be closed with the inefficient nurturing system, right? Pretty much your nurturing system is how you get a lead from who knows about you, curious, into actually building that trust and actually, getting them to build that trust with you to where they actually want to get further down your funnel, right? So most coaches nowadays, they only believe that front-end content is really good and they only focus on nurturing them through their front-end content. Like I told you guys earlier, that stuff like making video testimonials or making content that builds trust, like middle funnel content and stuff like that. And they only focus on doing that, which is good. You will get, you will build trust. But if you really actually want to, take this a step further, you need to go deeper than that, right? So when you only nurture the front end and top of funnel content, you won't actually have any back end selling systems, which will actually cause you to lose a lot of money on the table because you're not handling core concerns and objections that your audience may have, right? So think about someone who's already watched your content for a while. Maybe you're in the trading space. Maybe they trust you. They've seen your content. They know that you're good at what you do. They've even made money from your free content. But they're still a little bit skeptical about joining your program or joining your offer and taking that step further. Those people need back-end selling, right? And what we typically do in the back-end selling is we send them over, pre-call asks that handle objections. So these are stuff like FAQ videos. These are, email sequences that we send out, right? You can see back-end selling system. These are literally examples of emails that we send out. We have over like a 6-day or a 6-7, no pun intended, 6 to 7 emails that we send out before our calls that leads a book to just go ahead and nurture them and actually sell them on why this is a good opportunity, why this is better than other things that they've seen online, right? Just literally building a lot of trust with them. Those aren't things that you're really gonna do in your front end content. You're not gonna make a video saying why my program is better than other programs. But those are stuff that you can talk about in emails. Those are stuff that you can have sales reps explain over the phone, right? And pretty much having these back-end selling systems are very important, right? Now, a lot of coaches, they leave this part out on the table. They don't even know that this exists, which is why they lose a lot of money. Or they're just doing it unofficially. They don't even have an email list set up. They don't actually know exactly how to scale properly with having back-end nurturing selling systems, which is why they lose a lot of money on the table, okay? So back-end nurturing systems is very important because, like I said, those are gonna handle the core objections that people have in your audience that is actually making them not actually go over the edge, right? And the next and final thing here is gonna be your actual conversion system, right? So how exactly are you getting the leads that you've now nurtured and how are you getting them over the edge to close them, right? Now this phase is pretty much where the nurturing process and the generating traffic from the top of funnel come together to actually close a sale. No lead can enter this part of the sales process if they haven't actually went through the other 2 parts of the process first, right? A lot of times people will try to close a lead, and I've seen so many coaches where they have a Calendly link set up on their bio, or they have a pay me $3,000 just payment link set up, and they think a lead is just gonna go from watching one of your videos to just paying you $3,000 with a checkout link in your description. That's not gonna work because you have not nurtured this lead properly. You've literally missed out on all of this process here, which is handling their core objections, which is showing them testimonials through their front end content, right? Which is, back end selling systems to actually tell them why this is a good opportunity. And then obviously having a sales rep, either close them on the phone, which you can actually handle objections and stuff like that. That's a lot of times where people actually lose money is because they skip these steps and they go from the first part to the closing, or they go from nurturing, then they just don't have a good selling backend system. It just is all over the place, which is why you can't actually close the deals that you're actually having come through your pipeline, right? Now, some good actually conversion mechanisms that we use, I can give you examples for this specific client. 2 things, one, a VSL book to call funnel, another one, a webinar, right? Right now, these are honestly the best 2 funnels, and obviously a challenge funnel, which is the same exact thing as a webinar. It's kind of like a 3-day event. So you've probably seen people online right now saying, hey, join my free live 3-day class teaching you how to make your first dollar online trading. That whole 3 days, every single day they're nurturing you. They're selling them on some specific vehicle, or they're selling you on some specific mechanism on each day, and they're building the trust and they're handling of rejections. That way on day 3, you've now spent 3 days with them. Obviously you're gonna trust them, so you're actually willing to pay over $5,000 to $10,000 even for a coaching program, right? So, but the 2 main mechanisms that we've been using that have been working really good for us is webinar funnels and VSL book to call funnels. On a webinar funnel, this is pretty much a funnel that we run a free class, and it's a free lead magnet, right? So obviously people want to sign up for this because it's free. It's very low friction. They just put in their email, name, number, they get access to it. From there, then you add them into email lists where you obviously use the backend selling systems to get them to want to show up to the class, stuff like that. But then on that class, it's pretty much just a whole long presentation where you sell them on the mechanism. So I'm just gonna keep using trading for this example, but you sell them on why trading is a good opportunity, right? Let's say, for example, you're targeting more newer people who haven't started trading before. In that class, what you wanna cover is why trading is a better model than drop shipping, Amazon FBA, wholesale, any other option that they might be looking at, right? Because obviously that person that new to trading, they're still looking at all these other different options, and a lot of the times they're not sold on why trading is gonna be better. So you need to sell them on that. You need to sell them on you as a person. So you're going to be telling them about your story. You're going to be building trust with them. Specifically in nowadays, there's so much no trust in the info space, especially like now the whole bunch of things that have been happening. I'm sure you guys seen stuff with like Sam Millsap and all these other people. The industry right now is just very cooked. And if you don't actually have a very good way to actually nurture these leads and build trust with them, they're not going to want to spend their time, on a call with you or even paying thousands of dollars if they don't trust you. So on this call, literally what we do, it's typically around like an hour to an hour and a half long, where we usually have our creator and we obviously make this presentation out for them, where we literally will just explain what the business model is, why it's a better opportunity than other business models, how exactly the creator got into that business model, showing the creator story, handling objections. So like, does this take a while to start, right? How long does it take me to make money with this? Stuff like that. Showing testimonies of other people who have done this business model successfully, and then bridging the program, which is our offer, as a solution towards getting them to that goal. Right? Obviously, that's going to be an offer that's tailored towards more people who are like kind of like new starting up. If you're running an offer with people who are already in the business model, what you're going to be doing is you're going to be selling your system, your unique selling mechanism better than other selling mechanisms. So let's say, for example, you're a trader. Maybe it's like the strategy that you have, you're gonna go ahead and sell why that strategy is better than other strategies that they may be seeing. Because obviously the people who are trading, they're probably looking at other traders in the space, they're looking at what they do, they're really lost and confused. You just need to sell them on yourself, your selling mechanism, the people that you've helped, and then obviously position your offer as a solution towards getting them over to their dream outcome. Right? So that's a very good funnel because it pretty much can, condense the time it would take a lead to go ahead and buy from you. A lot of times it might take maybe a week, 2 weeks even, for a lead to actually feel comfortable in buying, $1,000, $2,000, $3,000 program from the time that they first see you until the time that they actually decide to buy. And 2 weeks, I'm sure you guys don't want to wait 2 weeks to go ahead and make money. So having this webinar funnel can literally condense that time from 2 weeks to pretty much an hour and a half, right? Just because you're drilling them with so much content and selling them in a way to where they're actually sold, and then that's how you can actually go ahead and close them. So that funnel is working pretty good. Another one that we actually run actively is a VSL to book call funnel, where pretty much we have leads go ahead and watch a VSL. It's kind of like a webinar, but it's shorter, typically anywhere from like 10 to 40 minutes long, depending on your market, who exactly you're targeting your audience to, stuff like that. And then from that video, if they are, we sell them on the same exact thing, the mechanism, the offer, stuff like that, handling objections, and then after that, they go ahead and fill out an application. From there, someone on our sales team calls them up automatically, gets them on the phone, pre-handles any objections that they may have, and then gets them on the closing call with one of our closers, and then our closer takes that deal, and then we close that, right? And using this exact funnel, that's how we're able to generate a little bit over $22,000 in cash and $35,000 in revenue in the month of October, and how we're gonna actually scale this same exact funnel and help this creator make over 100K a month in hopefully the next couple of months in the future, just by using the same exact funnel. Okay, so yeah, that's pretty much everything that you need to know if you're a coach. Like I said, generating the traffic, how exactly to get those qualified people into your audience, nurturing those leads that you get, into actually building that trust with them, and then obviously having a really good conversion mechanism to actually sell them and then get them to actually close. Okay, so if you are a coach or consultant, you now have literally everything you need to go ahead and scale your offer past that 30K a month. Now, obviously, it's a lot easier said than done, or you probably still need to actually understand what type of content you should post. You need to know what the backend selling mechanisms that you should be using are, what emails to send, how to actually have a good sales team set up and stuff like that. Now, like I said, I do this for other coaches and consultants. We actually help their info products grow, and we pretty much run as a partner, just partner up with you guys and help you guys scale. So if that is something that you are interested in, you actually want my hands-on help directly with doing this, just go ahead and book a call with me in the description. It's gonna be a chill call. I'll just talk to you. If I can help you out, I'll let you know. If not, I'm not gonna BS. I'm just gonna tell you, yo, this is not gonna work. I'd implement this and then maybe like retouch in the near future. But I definitely know that if we hop on a call, like I'm at least gonna give you more advice and leave you off better than probably how you are right now. Okay, so like I said, you can go ahead and book that call with me. And if not, my free content's here. Just go ahead and watch that. Also, shoot me a DM on Instagram if you have any questions about like what I do. If you are a coach and you need help with that, DM me on Instagram. Or if you're an agency owner and you want help scaling your other clients, DM me on Instagram as well. Okay. Other than that, man, I hope this video was very insightful. I'll make more of this content. Let me know what you guys want to see and I'll make more of it. And yeah, see you guys in the next one. Peace out.